Well, the story of KC Wiffle, you're part of this story, and your story probably started where mine did, in a backyard. Don't know if this was yours, or if this was your side yard, or if this was your sloppy yard, or whatever it was. It probably dates back to your buddies, the Sandlot friends. Here were mine. Here's my cousin John. And these are some friends of mine still now in adulthood. Notice none of these cats are under the age of 30, but the passion never died. So we said, hey, what if instead of just a little pickup in the backyard wiffle ball, what if you made a team, I made a team, we put a little schedule together, and before you knew it, we were playing in backyards and detention ponds, and we were playing inside, and we were playing sloppy pits outside, more inside, out of state. We were playing in front of city landscapes. We were playing in country farms. We were playing in front of shuttlecocks and famous museums, in the ocean, in downtown urban areas, in the Rockies, in the Buffalo River, even in Arkansas. We were playing on the slopes and playing in the Ozarks. And we were playing in front of cameras, because I don't know if you noticed, but we became kind of a big deal. And that's because we played spring seasons, and we played summer ball and fall ball, and we played ice wiffle. We even had fans. We had uniform guides, and we formed a board, and we had a logo and a mascot. We had dudes wearing helmets and other dudes wearing helmets on motorcycles. We had a lot of stirrups and a lot of eye black, and we played on bleachers as pews or pews as bleachers, but there was a lot of prayer that ensued in trying to hit the meatball, and we even had wiffle ornaments on Christmas trees and a perennial wiffle trophy, and we invaded the corporate boardrooms, and we had a wiffle officer, a wiffle philosopher named Plastius Batius. And tell you what, we had injury reports. We were bombarded by the media. We had tons of cameras and microphones stuck in our faces, and we smiled, and we hung out with dignitaries, and that's because, well, we got pretty good, and we were smart. We had an R&D department, and we cared for our players with wiffle psychologists.
We're here with Michael Shahan, Wiffle sports psychologist. Michael, tell us about this meatball phenomenon that is confounding batters across the league.
It's an absolutely fascinating topic. I'm glad you brought that up. When you're looking at this meatball effect in the wiffle sports arena, already knowing that wiffle ball itself is probably one of the most mentally strenuous sports that exists.
Mentally and for some physically strenuous. We also had lots of press conferences because people around the block wanted to know about all the inside scoop of KC Wiffle.
Dan Diebel. He is the commish of WIF, and most importantly, my father. Welcome, Dan Diebel!
Thank you, Hadley. So good to be with you on the show today.
Yes it is.
And so from great feats of strength came great highlight reels that were shown far and wide.
Did you have your hot dog tonight? That's what
And so from all of this momentum, all of this kind of crescendo, we began to really ask not just the question about a league, not just about could we find another backyard to play in, but could we create our own yard? So we pulled in close a world-renowned sports architect who drew on the back of a napkin the idea of a wiffle cathedral, a place where you could eat and sleep wiffle. And it grew, and it grew, and it grew. But it grew from this place of always knowing who we were, never losing sight of this humble gratitude for who we are and the freedoms that we enjoy to mash the perforated plastic. But then, perhaps you know what happened. It happened to all of us, the year 2020. And the first thing that hit us was an ice storm that iced out ice wiffle. Oh, the irony, but then a global pandemic, and all the mighty began to fall, one after another, after another, after another. And so for necessary precautions, for what we thought would be just a temporary pause, we're just going to put Wiffle on hold. But then, well, other factors came into play, like, well, I had to get a job. And the board members had other responsibilities to tend to. And so we just began to wonder, will KC Wiffle ever de-thaw? Would it ever come out from the clutches of the year 2020? And so then we just said, well, maybe KC Wiffle is coming to a satisfying end. Maybe it's coming to a glorious climax, and we should just live for a moment in reverie. Alas, we remember thus that in 4 short years, there were 3 leagues, if you count our expansion league in Columbia. There were over 8 divisions playing all over Kansas City, and over 1,000 athletes ran through our system, our process, through our pipeline, our player developmental system. And never forgetting at the very core why we did it all, not just to play Wiffle, but to play Wiffle and save the world. And so for the Negro League Baseball Museum, for Dayton Moore's See You in the Major Leagues, that our little engine that could to play Wiffle and save the world, well, we raised a total of $27,000+. But that's not all. If you count up all the Wiffle shenanigans that happened at Wiffle at the Hollow, through Mash Plastic, through Uncle Hud's Wiffle Pinball and Home Run Derby Tournament and the like, that our little Play Wiffle Save the World mantra actually turned to, get this, the total, over $1 million raised through the perforated plastic and through you. Holy cow, just sit back and enjoy all the good that has happened in and around you and our city, through you and through KC Wiffle and Wiffle at the Hollow and the like. It's amazing. And all of a sudden we go, well, maybe it's not all doom and gloom. Maybe there is a bit of a halo, of a rainbow, of an arc of glory over KC Wiffle. And then that's when an olive branch was extended even still. I was at a post-Wiffle party, ran into the owner of KC Crew, Luke Wade, and we began to talk. And he said, Dan, what are your plans for KC Wiffle? And coyly, I said, Luke, well, big plans, humongous plans, plans I can't tell you about without having you sign an NDA. And that's when negotiations ensued. Our people talked to one another's people. We brought in M&A specialists and their teams. We talked valuations and EBITDA. And before you knew it, well, we were in my backyard where it all started, with a yellow bat on holding from end to end, signing our signatures on the dotted yellow line. And there were moments, I have to be honest, where passion seemed to get the best of us, where we walked away from the table, we came back to the table, but at the end, we realized KC Crew, they carry so much of what is in our heart, that we breathe the same air. KC Crew are the folks that bring the fun and the funk to Kansas City. Why would we not want to join partnership with them? Why would we not want to hand off all the goodness to those that can carry it forward and grow it still? And so I'm very, very pleased to tell you today that Wiffle comes home. It comes home first to your backyard. to where it belongs. And hopefully now, after years playing together through KC Wiffle, even deeper still, it's in your heart and even more actively in your backyard. But also, Wiffle comes home with KC Crew. And so as my final salutation as commissioner of KC Wiffle, I say to you, be Wiffle free, lads. And Wiffle on. Wiffle on. Wiffle on.